Are you being compensated by Paizo for basically indoctrinating and shifting over massive amounts of D&D YouTube influencers to Pathfinder?
I have been accused of that.
Because you're doing a good job.
Okay, welcome. I'm glad to meet. I already know Luke and Kobe from earlier, but I'm meeting Blaine, Monkey, and Rex for the first time. Hello! This is the continuing D&D YouTubers Learn Pathfinder 2E series.
When I found out that the majority of my homebrew nowadays was basically just recreating stuff that existed in Pathfinder and Pathfinder 2E, I realized I needed to give it a shot. So
Ronald reached out to me via my friend Chris, Treant Monk. We played a few sessions. I loved it. So now I started working in some Pathfinder builds on my channel, as well as the D&D 5e stuff, which has been fun.
I think I'm just getting, a lot of it's getting bored with D&D 5th edition. And there are so many things that frustrate me about it that I'm just not happy with. And so I was starting to read the Pathfinder 2 that was on my desk, and I'm just like, hey, this is really cool.
When I realized that my boss was about to stab me in the back, and by my boss, I mean Watsy, and by stab me in the back, I mean stab me in the back, I realized that, maybe jumping ship is not a bad idea.
What got me originally interested in potentially trying it out was, and I was telling Ronald this before, the adventures for Pathfinder. So, because I do agree in the sentiments that you guys have had, in particular with Luke. Some the quality has just not been very good, in particular with the adventures. Really unhappy with how straightforward they are, how boring they seem to be. They're very generic. Whereas Pathfinder adventures, I like that they go to 20 or close to. Sometimes they go to 18 or whatever. That's amazing. I love that they have they separate them in multiple books, which means that you can have like real arcs and just the diverse styles, I guess, of stories. And so what I used to do, and what I'm kind of still doing to this day, is I grab Pathfinder adventures and I just make them into 5th edition adventures, and then I play them, just because I feel like that's what I have to do to get a good story. I don't know much about 2E. This is going to be my first game ever. I have been forbidden by Ronald to look really
So, same.
I remember what that was like. It was terrifying.
Are you being compensated by Paizo for basically indoctrinating and shifting over massive amounts of D&D YouTube influencers to Pathfinder? You have a
I'm being compensated by YouTube and Patreon. And I know you're joking, but I have been accused of that.
Because you're doing a good job.
I guess because the idea of someone who loves to teach and is really excited about a game is just unbelievable to some people.
It has to be ulterior motives.
Yeah. If there's one thing the community needs, especially the tabletop RPG community, it's members of it that are really good at bringing other people together.
For sure.
So, doing a good job.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There have been 3 adventures that have been mentioned as possible ones that we could do that are published adventures by Paizo. I initially thought Gatewalkers. Another one that's been proposed was Abomination Vaults. The other one that was brought up was Kingmaker.
I'm just mostly interested in Abomination Vaults, primarily because I think the big part of our starting adventure is going to be trying to figure out what the heck we're capable of doing and testing that out within the waters of combat. And once we start getting the hang of that, it'll be better.
Even though I've dabbled in a few sessions now, I still feel like I'm learning the ropes. And a nice comfy dungeon crawl that you can go back to town and sell all of your great items every once in a while sounds pretty nice.
I'm totally down for Abomination Vault. I like a good dungeon crawl. I like the deadly aspect of it. The fact that there are NPCs and stuff about, so that we can have social interactions as well, is good, because I love combat, but I also like social interactions. I wouldn't want to just be killing crap. That would get old after a while. So a little bit of variety, that sounds nice to me.
If it does have roleplay, I would also say Abomination Vault.
There you go. It seems like we've made up our minds here. I'm interested in Abomination Vaults because I guess from a designer's perspective, I'm curious to see how they tackle those roleplay scenarios and how they keep it interesting in a mega dungeon. Because I guess 5th edition's idea for a mega dungeon was Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and I was really disappointed with that one. So I'm really curious to see how they tackle it.
They had been planning to make Abomination Vaults the first Paizo adventure path for 5e. And it was supposed to release this spring, but it's been delayed for a year. I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know if the OGL had anything to do with that. I also have Dungeon of the Mad Mage on my shelf. I was planning to... definitely it's easier to run as a GM, the Abomination Vaults. And it's not a lot of hallways and empty rooms. Absolutely.
They literally don't give you like a reason to go down there.
The Dungeon of the Mad
don't.
Mage.
They don't. It's like,
Yeah.
so you have like the bad guy, right? Halaster, and it's like, you should make up why you want to interact with this person. Maybe you want to kill him. Maybe you don't. They don't give you anything. It's so weird.
I'm pretty sure it has some form of weird connection with Waterdeep Dragon Heist, but I think the loosest connection to it is, hey, you start in the tavern where it is. Look at how deep it goes. You want to go down there?
The only connection would be like one of the villains is down there, but they don't really make that connection into like, they don't work it into the story in any way.
Yeah, it's like you're adventurers and you go on adventures. So
they
That's
have
what you
like,
do.
they do in that module. They do have like different objectives that you can give to your players. There's like a handful of them, but the objectives are like levels between each other. So you might go through like 3 different levels to get to one objective, you know. And so the one of the biggest failings of that module is the reason for even doing it, you know, which the dungeon master could very easily come up with and design. It's not that big of a deal, but to not include that just seems super short-sighted. I think I want to do a witch. I'm not sure what my ancestor will be, but I want to be a tiefling.
For those who don't know, who are new to Pathfinder, your subrace for your race is called a heritage, and Pathfinder has what are called versatile heritages. One of them is tiefling. You can graft it onto any other ancestry. So you can be a elf tiefling.
But yeah, I was also interested in playing a witch, actually. I was more so interested in Hex's potion brewing, primarily negative or polymorphing like brews, and just overall being a debuffer and transmuter for the most part type of witch.
I was going to propose that we use the free archetype variant in this group. That's the one that lets you get a free feat every even numbered level that can be spent on an archetype, which is Pathfinder's version of multiclassing. I normally don't recommend it to groups that play Pathfinder for the first time, but I think for folks who want to get a sampling of what's possible in the system, it's essential. So
yeah, I'm totally down. More feats, the better. D&D 5e doesn't give enough of them out. I'm going to collect them all. The Pathfinder master.
Yeah, I wanted to do a melee cleric. You know, the type of cleric I would follow is like a god of war or something like that. And I mentioned it in the chat, but like I envision sort of like heavy armor. It's a dwarf, Doragomir Shellscar. So heavy armor dwarf with like a big maul, like a 2-hander bludgeoner, and just kind of get in there, get in the middle.
It sounds like the player's handbook cleric to me.
You know what? Maybe exactly. So now that you mentioned it, that's exactly what I want to be.
I had 3 things that I was thinking I would want to play. One, a champion, and probably a paladin that would be primarily like there to kind of be a frontliner, tanky type. I also love playing like agile, dexterous strikers. So whether that's like a rogue, like a thief rogue, especially if we need some of that kind of scouty, lockpicky, trap disarming utility, and or like a gishy type caster, like a magus. Everybody that watches my channel and knows Pathfinder tells me that like I'm destined to play a magus, and that would be my favorite character. But I haven't even read about them yet. I don't even know anything about them.
I'm already thinking, because I know your viewers want you to do it.
Yeah.
For you to do the magus.
To try the magus.
And there is a rogue themed one.
So maybe I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. That's
possibly.
PETA doesn't.
It's basically
like that,
they have a focus spell which you can recharge between battles that lets you teleport into a square and then make a strike as a single action.
That sounds fun.
That sounds cool. I had a couple ideas in mind. Either because I want to play something that's not in D&D, like a class that doesn't exist in D&D. I saw that they have guns, so I was thinking of playing an American. Or
my class is American.
Sorry, I meant a gunslinger, of course. Sorry, my bad. You know, English is not my first language. I apologize. I saw psychic. I think sounds pretty cool. I like the eldritch aspect of which is the thaumaturge. I think is the other one you mentioned. Do they handle well melee? Like, can they tank in melee?
Yeah, and they're the most of the classes you've just now named, they are the
Mm-hmm.
most, this is weird, of the classes. And
Well, I mean, I am writing a book
are a
called
little weird. And they are the masters of knowledge, by the way, which actually is quite useful. It's part of what this adventure path is about, figuring something out.
And of all those classes you listed, is there any that use charisma? Because I think we don't have any charisma based.
Thaumaturge does.
Yeah, sure. I'll pick a thaumaturge.
So, what the hell is Pathfinder, and how do we begin? I'm going to show on my screen the structure of a character in Pathfinder. This is why they say you can have the same ancestry and class and subclass as the player sitting next to you, but have very different characters. It's because of feats. There's a lot of things you can do besides attack on your turn. And in Pathfinder, if you have 3 actions, so you can attack 3 times with your 3 actions. But
you'll get yelled at for doing so. So
mad
be
at me if
warned.
I do that.
No, it's just seen as a big
Faux pas.
I'll just be blunt. It's seen as a noob mistake for people new to Pathfinder, because in other RPGs you just want to do damage and just the best condition is dead, right? But
Usually,
in Pathfinder, you also want to debuff your enemies, protect your allies, and also, especially because of the multiple attack penalty mechanic. If you make a second attack on your turn, you have a -5 penalty on that attack. If you make a third and fourth, fifth attack, there are ways to get more than 3 attacks, by the way. You have a -10. On the other hand, a spell that just calls for a saving throw, Luke knows this, like Chill Touch, that does not have anything to do with the multiple attack penalty. So that is a cool combo that Luke has personally used.
I've also just straight up done 3 attacks in a round and hit with every one of them, which was really cool too. So sometimes it works.
So you're saying it's possible?
It's absolutely possible. Yeah.
All right.
yeah. I think monkey people sounds funny, so I'll take monkey people.
Yeah.
What are they called? What's the ancestry called?
Vanara.
Vanara. Hey, Ronald, can I ask for clarification? Because I'm just learning what the Magus is here live.
I will. Looking forward to it. Nice meeting all of you guys. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This was the work session.